Everybody, welcome to Geeks and Drinks. I'm Jason.
Jordan.
And this week we have some information about Marvel, about Netflix. There's a boatload of stuff about Disney that we could talk about, but we're going to wait on that till another episode. Everything about the Star Wars land
Well,
that came out.
Disney's gotten big. Technically, everything could be related to Disney.
I mean, granted, every single episode we have something Disney related in there. And I think this is no different. I'm sure it is somewhere in there. But
you know exactly where it is, you piece of
shit. Yeah, I know we're going to start off with. But first, our drinks. Jordan has his lovely frozen glass.
See, that's the thing. But I like Anna, though. So it's one thing. It's I either get to look at Anna, or I flip it the other way, so it looks like it's just an Anna glass, and then I have to stare at Elsa. So.
Although, I am curious about our beer for this week. How is it?
Well, I'm not dead, so.
All right, then. The reason why I bring it up, it's, what was the El Chingon? From, which, it was Black Hawk Brewery, right?
Yep.
Out in Anaheim. This beer has been waiting, or been bottled for about almost a year now. And
bottled, who knows? Sitting in the back of your car, yeah.
Yeah, I know. So, I did check. Beer doesn't really expire, just goes, some get better with age, some don't.
I don't think this one does.
Oh, okay. Let me give it a quick taste and find out what's going on. No, that didn't age well.
No. Mister, no, I got them all. All right.
Thought I did. Oh, well. That was a sip of that. If we're not here in 2 weeks, we died. That is what it is.
I had a good run.
Whatever. We have whiskey. We're good. So, let's just get into our conversation starters, though. And we begin with Netflix. We've known this has been coming for a while now. They start off with Daredevil.
Well, as I say more specifically, Marvel Netflix, which again, Disney.
Yes, every single episode has something with Disney. I know. So, we knew that a few of the Netflix series were already canceled. You had Iron Fist, and then it was Daredevil, and then
well, they started with Iron Fist and Luke Cage.
Right. And then
no, I think they just said Luke Cage or Iron Fist first.
Because that's what we were all talking about at that point, thinking like, but that second season was so much better than the first one, because the first one was shit.
For some reason, they took them forever to finally announce that Jessica Jones is getting canceled.
Yeah, so they Jessica Jones as well as Punisher. Punisher just semi-recently released season 2, like what, a few months ago? Jessica Jones released season 3 maybe a month ago.
Wait, season 3 of Jessica Jones is already out?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. So, I think it is. I could be wrong. But with all this, everything that Netflix and Marvel had in their partnership is now over. And Marvel's already come out with a statement. A lot of it is saying things like, it's never been done before. They say it could be done, and we did, thanks to you. And then they end their statement with "to be continued," because let's face it, some of these characters they had a lot of character growth. They were very entertaining. They had a large online presence. They had the fan base to back it up, even before the series began, and even grew farther when people who haven't read the comics watched these things, and then probably went back and read the comics.
I think we already know how this is going to play out.
It's going to end up on Disney.
It's going to end up on Hulu, which is soon to be slightly owned by Disney.
Slightly. They're going after the full cake.
Aren't they only doing 10% is what they're owning because of Fox? Which that deal's supposed to end in 2 weeks?
No, so they had their own share. Then with them buying Fox, they have like a much larger share.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going after AT&T, Time Warner to try to buy their share. And then after that, the only people left standing would be NBC. And they're already planning on having their own streaming service as is probably by 2020, 2021. So you're going to see Hulu play out with all the shows that Disney does not deem Disney-worthy enough to be on their Disney Plus streaming service. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, but no, that actually works because Miramax was theirs too.
Yes, it was. They're Miramax, they're Touchstone Pictures, they're all that fun stuff. But in the contract that Disney, Marvel and Netflix had with this is that when a series ends, that Marvel cannot reuse those characters in any other formats, streaming, movie, whatever, for a period of 2 years. Makes sense for them to try to cancel all this stuff right now because late this year they're going to have Disney Plus. And then everyone's going to be focusing on that for a while. Let's get the initial hype going. They just, they have a number of other exclusives that they're working on for that's series. I mean, there's a Loki series in the works. There's
it's actually which they announced is actually going to star Tom
right.
Hiddleston.
You also have the Star Wars one that The Mandalorian, which they just announced earlier this week that they wrapped filming. So now they did all the special effects and post production and all that fun stuff.
I'm sorry. Speaking of that, still bothers me about Godzilla. Oh yeah, we already finished filming Godzilla versus King Kong. We don't even have Godzilla King of Monsters yet.
I'm not surprised by this
because I know graphically it's going to take forever.
Exactly. And let's face it, the humans are only stop drinking it. You drink your whiskey. Oh God, never mind. I'm not gonna trust that. But
it's like old bathwater.
Yeah, then why are you drinking it?
Alcohol abuse.
No, alcohol abuse is me pouring it. Technically, you poured it, but okay.
Has a finish of like an old fruit leather. Remember that shit from back in the day?
Ugh, yes.
Take a sip and tell me you don't taste fruit leather.
Nope, I'm good.
Do it, Jason. Do it.
My stomach is already on the fritz. Anyways.
Stomach's always on the fritz.
Not always.
But anywho, but again, with Hulu also doing Runaways, which is Marvel, it wouldn't surprise me if they're like, look, all the non-big people or the TV shows that we can have be darker, we'll just throw them on Hulu.
I mean, they already have, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. still there, which it has its 6th season starts soon. I stopped watching after the 3rd.
Coulson made the comment the other day, he's like, it's not going past 7.
Well, even though Clark Gregg announced, he has a big role in this latest season, he's not playing Coulson. He's probably evil doppelganger, life model decoy or something. Who knows? He's going to be in Captain Marvel anyway, so.
I can only hope that if he's playing an evil version of himself, he just has a goatee too.
Mirror Universe?
Yeah.
There you go. So, yeah, no more of the Netflix Marvel collaboration at this point. We'll have to see if anything comes of it. Well, we know something will eventually come of it. We just don't know when at that point. Moving on to some rumors, or a very big rumor that we both hope is actually going to be
jumping
true.
Over to DC news.
Yes. Warner Brothers is rumored to be developing a new Constantine series starring Matt Ryan. Live action Constantine series. The original live action series aired on NBC a few years back. I thought it had really good reviews, and everyone we talked to really enjoyed it.
It had mediocre reviews. Problem is, no one watched it
until it canceled.
Once they'd already announced that it was canceled, we have 2 episodes left. And at that point, you could tell that they stopped giving a shit.
Right.
Remember, we made the comment. One of the best scenes was the last episode where he actually lights a cigarette with a candle at a church.
Yeah. And
which the first few episodes of Constantine, if you remember correctly, they kept trying to subtly be Constantine but hide some of the shit, so it wasn't really doing it.
Right.
You see him from the back and he's in a cold area and he looks over and breathes, and you see him flick a cigarette.
Yeah.
You never actually saw him light or
smoke
it. Or
you see him have the cigarette in his mouth, about to light it, but then they cut away.
Yeah.
And you just hear off screen.
Some weird shit where it's like, okay, they're hiding shit.
Right. But at the end, they're just don't give a fuck at that point.
And that's when people are like, okay, we're cool with this.
Yes. After the cancellation, you had his one-off sequence on Arrow.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. And then he started getting more guest positions in Legends of Tomorrow.
Got one.
You're talking about the animated?
Dark Tomorrow.
Yeah, Dark Tomorrow.
Not Dark Tomorrow. Justice League Dark.
Justice League Dark, yes. The animated
because they made a big deal. It's Matt Ryan voicing Constantine.
That's true. And that movie was enjoyable. He, for the latest season of season 4, I think, of Legends of Tomorrow, which rumors to be possibly the final season of that series, Matt Ryan's Constantine is one of the main characters.
Mm-hmm.
So when that all ends up, why not bring him back? I don't think it'll put him back on CW, but I think
all those CW shows are starting to kind of fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped watching, but I know that right now it's rumored that Supergirl's going to get canceled.
Right.
And they're going to make a Superman show because they still can't do Batman for some reason.
I don't know.
And who knows? And I'm guessing when Legends goes under, that's probably when they're going to put the Batwoman shit on there.
That's true. Bring that whole stuff
And
forward.
then Arrows, I think they said they're only going to go one more season as well.
Well, he's on like how many seasons now?
Like 6 or 7.
Yeah, it's a very long time for that.
Not 14. Supernatural.
Yes, I know. But in any case, this is all just a rumor. I mean, it makes sense to us at least. So we'll be, looking forward to hopefully an announcement and maybe a continuation of actually watching this. Maybe on DC Universe, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Do they have
for that.
Not a DC Universe? I don't remember. Never mind.
You talking about like the CW app or?
No, I completely forgot.
Okay. Anyways, next up, because I had to throw it in there because yes, I love the first movie. The Frozen 2 trailer finally has released online. It made several records, including the highest viewed trailer for an animated film. Granted, this pales in comparison to what say Infinity War had when that trailer came out, but still, it had a whopping 116.4 million views in the first 24 hours, and this trailer looks really good. But I am a fanboy. You've actually watched the first movie, have you not?
3 times.
Okay. And
Kinda.
you watched this trailer, yes?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
No fucking idea. None of it makes any sense.
Okay.
Okay, the fact that it starts off with Elsa just chucking ice and trying to run at the ocean.
Yeah.
All right. For what? Training for
Reason?
the X Games?
She's a powerful woman.
Fuck you, Ocean. You took my parents. And then like there's the weird
This
hinting.
isn't Adam West and Quahog stabbing the ocean.
And then what? It's gonna turn into like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where there's someone who's like moving wind and shit halfway through.
The elementals.
Again, okay.
I'm absolutely stoked about this. Can't wait to
more
see
of
it.
it. That's cool.
Of course I want more of it. And I can
It's
dive
not
more.
necessary.
Oh, it's completely necessary.
No, it's not. Like Lion King, it's not necessary.
No, this is totally necessary.
Or Aladdin, it's not necessary.
This is totally necessary. Let's get while we're at it. Let's get that Frozen 3 there before we get the Tron 3.
Why the fuck not?
Makes more money.
You're terrible fucking choices.
Speaking of terrible choices, why are you still drinking that aged beer? I'm not even saying that. Anyways, you guys can see it online.
Fruit leather.
No, I'm not going to.
It's weird.
Then stop drinking it.
No.
All right.
Tell me what to drink. Okay? If you're gonna tell me what to drink, I'll withhold. I know what story you were about to talk about.
Which is?
Or is that at the end? I don't know. It's what showed up.
Yeah, I got switched over. No, the next thing is we actually went to an event over the past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It was called Haunt X. This is actually technically a first-year convention. It's a DIY haunted house builders convention where it took place at the Pomona Fairplex in one of their giant warehouses over there, where you can go in. There's an exhibit area where you
the giant warehouse, not the big ones, like the one that's the third of the size of the big ones. Then they gave you about a fourth of that warehouse.
Yeah, I know. It was tiny. I know that Haunt X was renamed to Haunt X and brought to Southern California. It used to be, I think, up in Northern California for a couple of years. So for all intents and purposes, it's a first-year con. They had some vendors there. They had some presenters there. They had a couple cool things we went to
the
check
VR
out.
thing.
The VR thing was fun. It was just a promo for 2-Bit Circus, which is like a VR barcade you can see down in downtown LA. Should be a lot of fun, but I can only imagine that's going to get pricey very quick. But
I had fun.
It was still fun.
I mean, I still feel bad that I smacked you in the face.
Yeah, you did.
Spacing was
turn
off.
around back. Yeah, I know. But there was also like one of those slider groups. I forget.
Those fuckers are always there.
Yeah, they have their own squad or clan, and they have there doing a presentation. And whatnot.
I don't even know what okay, because after a while, it was just like watching dogs do that agility thing.
Right.
Like for the Westminster show.
Yes. Except it was dudes with
douchebags with knee pads.
Yeah. Well, everybody has to have a hobby at that point. We can ignore that part, but we saw cool
See, the
things.
worst part is, like, I remember there was even, like, a guy in, like, a gnarliest costume. He was, like, trying to creep me out by standing super close and just breathing heavy and doing a little clicky thing.
Right.
And I was, like, just unfazed the entire time. What's up, bro?
Yeah.
Because the entire time my buddy Steve is like, yeah, I'm used to this. This means nothing. Just because I dress moderately preppy like this, don't.
Well, not to mention also the fact that he was trying to do this at 11 o'clock in the morning in a brightly lit room that had no atmosphere whatsoever.
Whatever.
Yeah. So, presentations that we saw were okay. I mean, it's for people who want to learn how to make a haunted house without having to go to YouTube or something like that. For what it was for our first year convention, I think it was all right. Would we go back? Probably not. We kind of saw everything we wanted to see at that point.
Yeah, it took like 2 hours.
But there are upcoming other horror conventions like Monsterpalooza and Midsummer's Night Scream that we'll have to go check out, and then we start getting back into the spooky season. Get back to spooky Christmas.
Christmas.
I know. Counting the days down for that. I know Jess is.
I believe it's like 245 days.
You got it down to the day?
I think so.
All right, then.
Could be off.
Okay. But let's just get into our top story for this one is actually not one but 3 movie reviews, because we went to go see essentially a double feature as well on the same day. We went to go see Haunt X. One was Happy Death Day, and of course its sequel, Happy Death Day to You. 245 days. Good God, you had that down.
I regret nothing.
All right, then. So, one, I enjoyed both these films. 2, they are not horror films.
That's the first one, yes. Second one, kinda. I think the problem is...
The second one was a straight up like sci-fi spoof of like Back to the Future.
Okay, I would consider that horror sci-fi comedy.
Horror? Horror is such a strong word in this case.
Not necessarily.
Well, give me your take on it.
Well, because you can have a horror comedy. I think that's exactly what we saw. I mean, because you remember, technically, it's a comedy,
Right.
but you still have a lot heavy. It's rooted in horror.
Well, the whole thing with the killer, yes, I could see some of the horror aspects to it, but I remember seeing the marketing for this. And they
made it seem like an actual horror film.
Exactly.
I think that's kind of where they fucked up.
Yes, the marketing was not, correct for this.
Because I legitimately had no interest in seeing that movie ever until Jess made the comments like, no, I saw it. It's actually pretty good. It's really funny. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And that's when at Haunt X, I keep wanting to call it Spook X for some reason. I think it's because I know it's not meant to be like a ripoff of like SpaceX.
Right.
But she's like, let's go see the second one. I never saw the first one. Now there's Jason. We'll go back to your place and watch it. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah. So we rented it. We watched it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Went out and went to go see the sequel, which definitely takes more of a sci-fi turn. Within the first film, though, the whole thing with her coming back after every single time, I do like the fact that you have all these comparisons to, obviously, Groundhog's Day.
It ends with that joke.
It does. Well, that's what I was getting to at that point, is that starts, getting killed, restart, getting killed, restart. Oh, what's going on? Starts freaking out. I gotta get out of here. And then you get to that point of like, you know what? Just fuck it. And just goes off and just has basically fun with, the fucking finger guns. It was enjoyable. I do like the fact that they started making references, like I said, to Groundhog's Day, any of the Bill Murray films before. They kind of doubled down on all of that with the sequel, which essentially takes place the second this movie ended is when Happy Death Day to You started, which I did like the twist because they were following Ryan, the roommate, and then
in the beginning,
he was starting to get into the loop. You're questioning all that, thinking, oh, we're just doing the same thing. Oh no, they're doing this whole, alternate dimension shift loop.
Multiverse.
Yeah. So having that in there and then spinning it back around to her coming back to her day before and going through that whole process all over again multiple times. Although it's safe to say that character had a lot more freedom with that role this time. Because they kind of go off to do everything, like the skydiving scene. Now, I'm going to skydive in just a bikini and just flip off the camera as I die.
And ruin Carter and the one crazy bitch.
Mm-hmm. Well, for that, let's talk about casting. There's basically virtual no names through all of this, right? Have you recognized any of these actors or actresses beforehand? I couldn't. None of them really rung a bell for me, and that's not a bad thing. It's just one. It keeps down the budget, which Blumhouse is famously known for. Mm-hmm. Like they can basically drop this as low as possible, and they can just make end over end.
The only one I really knew was Carter.
Was Carter? Okay.
Remember that movie, the Netflix movie, "To All the Boys I Loved" or whatever?
Yes.
He's in that movie.
Oh, okay. But let's talk about the budget, for example. Happy Death Day to You had an initial budget of $4.5 million. It made like $125 million. So it definitely made its money back and then some. Happy Death Day to You had definitely more visual effects.
Yeah.
It did have a double the budget, so it had like $9.1 million budget. And when we went to go see it, it already made like $50 million. So it's already going to make its money back and then some. Hopefully bringing out maybe a... Does it really need to have a trilogy, though?
Sure, why not?
Okay. I mean, the way they ended it, this one sounded more like just a funny thing, a comedy bit, but it's not really a place to move the story along. They kind of had its own conclusion.
The first one ended that way.
That's true.
We didn't need a second one in the first place.
Though I will say, though, that there was questions from the first movie that were definitely answered in the second one. But again, these were questions that I didn't even know I had the question to until they tied it into the second one, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like the whole reason, what caused her to start doing this loop. Yes, they touched the whole thing like, I'm not special. Well, yeah.
Yeah, and I disagree, because again, why you?
Why not you?
But that's what I mean, though. She's like, I thought I was special. I thought I was chosen to relive this moment. It was just coincidence because of this shitty science. And I was like, well, either way, you were still chosen. Something chose you. Your point's moot. People try to tell me The Last Jedi is good. No, your opinion's retarded. It doesn't make sense.
What are you trying to say? That was a fantastic movie.
Shit, and you know it.
No, it wasn't.
It's been a while since I took a stab at you for that, so I had to.
Well, to help you out with that, there was a lot of stuff that happened within the upcoming Disney Star Wars land that was actually consulted on by Rian Johnson.
That's unfortunate.
So, all the good stuff's going to happen in that.
Because they consulted. They asked him, do you think this is a good idea? And he said yes. So they knew, we're not doing that.
No.
Anything they listened to, it was just so they could do the opposite of what he said.
That's bullshit. He should never have walked away from his trilogy. Man had genius plans. I was looking forward to all of them.
You and like 5 other people.
Hey, at least we support.
I still saw the piece of shit.
Yeah. Anyways. Well, that's it for our reviews on here. We just have a couple more things we want to briefly go through, our quick hits, because they're just something we want to make as of mention. Probably have a quick comment about it, but nothing we're going to spend too much time on. Starting off with the Game of Thrones whiskey collection that you actually started collecting. This is a collection of, 7 bottles of whiskey? 8. Is it 8 bottles?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Because it's 7 of the houses and the Night's Watch.
Okay, gotcha. So, who is actually making this
Everyone.
whiskey?
Each one's done by like a different distillery.
Oh, really? I didn't know that, actually. I thought it was just one, because all the labels have the same design.
Like, Oban is the only one I can remember. They do the Night's Watch.
Okay.
Yeah, look right there.
Oh, yeah.
House Tully, Glendulon, Stark, Belwine, Targaryen, Cardhu, Lannister is Lagavulin.
Okay, yeah.
Greyjoy is Talisker, Baratheon, Royal Lochingar, Tyrell, Clynelish Reserve,
and then
Night's Watch, Oban Reserve.
So which one of these do you have so far?
Tully,
So you have Tully,
Targaryen, and Stark.
Okay. Out of all those, what have you tried so far? All of them, or
Tully?
What's the thoughts on it?
It's fucking weird.
Really?
Remember I told you, if you add ice to it, it somehow has more of a liquid taste to it.
That is right, yes. If you just have it neat, it's
smooth and perfect.
Yeah, you don't need to add anything to it. Though I am curious to try the rest of these, though. Are you going to try to go for the full collection, or are you just going to pick them up as you see them? Well, how much did you pay for each bottle?
$30-40.
Okay, so it's going to be kind of a pricey to actually have the full collection at that point.
But again, it's also coming in doses.
Oh, okay, so this is actually not all coming out at once.
Yeah, from what I've gathered when I go to the liquor store, they're doing it in waves.
Gotcha.
Which makes sense. Is for February we got 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look right there. Tully, Stark, Targaryen.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make sense if the next 3 probably coming in
Lannister,
March
Greyjoy,
would be
Baratheon.
Lannister, Greyjoy, and Baratheon. And then like April when the show comes out, we'd probably get Tyrell
Right,
and Night's
I
Watch.
could see these things actually switching between, or here it goes between $45 to $65 each on there. So it'd be kind of a pretty penny to have all of these, but they are limited edition. They are to coincide with the release of the final few episodes of Game of Thrones.
Like honestly, I don't know why I really like because I didn't really pick Tully. I didn't really care. Stark, I really couldn't care less about. Targaryen was one I wanted to get.
Right.
And Lannister. Those are the 2 I really want.
Gotcha.
I mean, chances are I'll probably end up just getting Greyjoy and Night's Watch.
So it's not really being a completionist. It's like, I'm curious about trying the actual whiskeys inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Well,
perfect
again,
sense.
those are my house allegiances.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Moving on, if you've been a fan of any of Capcom's old classic video games, going back to even Mega Man back in the day, you might remember all the classic 8-bit music that went along with all of that. And even with the limited abilities that the video games of the time had in terms of music, it is still very iconic and memorable to this date. So Capcom decided to turn around and say, you know what? We're going to put a boatload of this stuff on Spotify for free. So you can do just a search on Spotify for Capcom or Capcom games. You'll get a collection of its entire library on there. Everything from Mega Man, you have Street Fighter, Monster Hunter, a ton more out there. It's cool to have this information there, or not information. This
Retard wrote this. Mega Man, aka Rocket Man. No.
Oh no, there's someone on
Rockman. That's the Japanese title.
Right.
Because his name is Rock.
It's a Nerdist article we pulled this from. What do you expect? These people
I didn't even read the article. Like that was the first thing I saw. I'm like, what the fuck are you calling him Rocket Man?
Yeah. So they have a bunch of the stuff available on Spotify. I forget how many hundreds of songs available out there.
The first one, the popular one, was from Devil May Cry.
Oh, it has its
Which
fan
don't they
base
have
there.
a 5th one coming out?
Yes, they do. DMC5.
At least they're going back, not doing DMC.
DMC was horrible.
Played about an hour and a half of it, Brian Lamb, and what the shit is this?
Not a fan of that. But at least with this stuff, you guys can listen to that in the background while you're at work.
On Two Best Friends, they defeated an entire boss just by shooting him.
Seriously?
Yeah, because apparently, because the guns, they're just there to stun.
Right.
But it does slowly chip away, and it's unlimited ammo.
So they just literally sat there.
They just sat there. And like in the video, like time lapse, where they're like, all right, an hour later.
So it literally took them like an hour of just straight
Some
up
bullshit
there.
or something like that. Yeah, they just sat there. It does like a % of damage, and it stun locks them. They just let it go.
God, that's messed up. Oh wow.
There's a scene where a mop falls on Dante's head, and he gives him the gray hair, and he's like, whoa. I don't know who decided. Remember, Virgil was some weird British terrorist?
Yeah.
Has reasons?
The less we think about that, the more, the better.
Third one didn't even really star Dante, and even that was a better version.
No.
Even more Demon Claw, whatever the fuck that was.
I don't know what that was.
We basically just ran around choke slamming people because that was at least fun for some reason.
Strangely, it was, but okay, yeah.
It was oddly satisfying.
Yes. All right. Moving on to another video game news, real quick. Nintendo announced through one of their recent Nintendo Direct video series that Zelda: Link's Awakening is actually getting a Switch remake. This is going to get a. It's not just like an HD remake because this is on classic Game Boy. You really can't just port that over without any problems. But this one actually includes this full 3D isometric style that is reminiscent of the original, but has its own little take on it, though. It keeps kind of this chibi style.
I would still call that an HD remake, though.
You would still call this HD remake?
Yeah.
I just call it a remake entirely.
Because again, it's basically the same game, but obviously, it's infinitely way better graphically because you can.
Yeah, that's true.
Because remember, Link's Awakening was on like Game Boy. Like it was one of the launch titles. I'm pretty sure this might even predate Super Mario Land.
No, Super Mario Land came out launch of Game Boy. Yes. But this one came out, I think, shortly thereafter.
Fine, it predates
Yeah.
Wario at least.
It does predate Wario. I can give you that. But this one, I like the style. It should be fun. I remember playing this a lot when I was a kid.
Never played it.
Never played it? Well, it's the first time for you to play it.
Well, my first Zelda game was Ocarina of Time.
Ah, okay. Do you have any inkling to want to go back and play some of the classic ones, or
What do you mean?
the older Zelda
have.
games?
I know this.
You just said you haven't played this one before.
Okay, but Zelda 1 I've played and
Right.
beaten.
Right.
Zelda 2, I played for like an hour, and what the fuck is this?
No
And I
one
had to
can
stop.
go through Zelda 2.
And Link to the Past I've played.
Okay, so you have gone through some of them. Okay.
And
When
then,
you brought up that you haven't played this one, I thought you didn't actually go back and play the other ones.
No, when Game Boy Advance first came out, they had their classic series, but they were releasing all the old NES games on that.
Yes.
I never got to play any of those games.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, when they released the one that actually looked like an old school NES, like the console,
Right.
I bought that and then immediately bought all the classic games to go with it.
Oh.
So I had Zelda, I had Mario, I had Metroid. I'd say there's probably another one too, but I remember those three at least.
Gotcha. Okay. Which one of your Zelda games actually stands out in your mind?
I mean,
Is there any of the Zelda games that you would sit there and like you can think about and actually remember good times with it, and you maybe want to go back and play it?
Ocarina of Time. How many times have I put on Ocarina of Rhyme?
Fair enough. You have played that.
An exorbitant amount.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Oh well, but yeah. So this comes out, I think, later on this year for the Nintendo Switch. You guys keep an eye for it. Just go to Nintendo's website for more information.
I'm amazed you're not also mentioning the fact that what's his puss is retiring, and his replacement is naturally named Bowser.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So Reggie Fils-Aimé, he's been part of Nintendo of America for the past about 15 years. He started off, I think it was VP of sales, and then he went all the way up to becoming the president of Nintendo of America. And I remember the E3 that he was first introduced. I think it was 2007. He came out there wearing like a tight black shirt and a gray jacket. Like, my name is Reggie. I was called here to kick ass. We're about playing games. Like, he had a much more in your face attitude at that point. But that's kind of the shot of adrenaline that Nintendo needed at that moment, and it started bringing more and more people over to it, giving Nintendo another shot at that point. And he's actually a bona fide gamer. He's been playing these games long before he's worked for Nintendo. And even though he's leaving there, he was always a gamer. He spent time playing with it. There was many times that I saw him at E3 that he'd be talking with just random people, and he's like, "Excuse me for a second." He reaches into his pocket and he pulls up like a 3DS because he's playing like the latest Pokemon or something like that. And like, I just got a notification. There's something here I got to play, and will literally just stop mid conversation to continue playing. So he's one of the few people that gets close to the level that I would say Steve Jobs had with Apple. No one's gonna get to that level that he's just that like. Reggie is Nintendo. Nothing's gonna be like. It's never gonna be like that. Kind of like Steve Jobs was Apple, but Reggie, he was well known within the industry and all the fans of Nintendo and their products and their games, to the point that people were lining up to get his autograph on Nintendo products.
Like I said,
him and Miyamoto. I mean, Miyamoto is definitely.
I said that's Nintendo.
That's Nintendo. But as far as Nintendo of America is concerned,
Miyamoto.
You have still. There's a lot of people who will say Reggie has done a lot for the company going forward. So with his departure, they had to announce a successor. And I swear, his name had to have something to do with it, because it's just so perfect, though. He was he's the former VP of Sales and Marketing for Nintendo of America, and now he's taking over. His name is Doug Bowser. That is his last name, Bowser. To coincide with all of that, he posted a picture on Twitter of him in his office with a picture saying, "Thanks for the warm welcome." But eagle-eyed viewers have noticed in the background that you had two rows of plushies. One was Mario and Luigi wrapped up together by a GameCube controller's cable, and then you have Bowser Jr. and I think Bowser himself on the second level.
As you should.
Yeah. So enter all your memes of Bowser is taking over the Nintendo kingdom, but I think it'd be perfect. So I look forward to see what he's going to do.
As long as he brings back the Nintendo cereal. And maybe the Nintendo Power Hour.
Well, technically, I mean...
Excuse me, princess.
Oh, God. He said that shit like at least 4 times an episode.
Great. I think I have that on DVD somewhere.
Oh God, do you?
Yeah, I think I saw it like in the bargain bin at a CVS or something like that.
Burn it. It's so bad. Which means we have to watch it again. All right.
Even the Super Mario ones. Come on now, do the Mario. Good times.
Oh dear God. Anyways, moving on. Jason Blum has been on the hot streak as of lately with a lot of his films. We can't say much about the
What do you
Hulu
say
series.
hot streak? He's hit or miss.
I'd say he's been on a hot streak for films. The Hulu stuff is, according to you and Jess, not good. I haven't watched any
Not
of
great.
those yet. But the movies that I've seen of his, I've really enjoyed. Mainly which, Mitch Halloween. Anyways. So with everything that's been going on with the Halloween movie that he produced, he turned around and basically said, yeah, if he had the ability to and the money to back it, he wants to make 10 more Halloween movies. I don't think we need that. I don't think there's enough stories right there that he can possibly create that will be within to make 10 films. What would you say to him trying to push through with that?
Way too many.
Way too many at that point? Well, how many sequels do you think he should actually make for that point?
3.
Just make it a trilogy and just move on at that point?
Anything more than that, you're going way too much.
All right, fair enough. I mean, hopefully he's not going to try to turn around and try to force this issue itself.
Jason, you know why I can say hit or miss?
Why?
Oh, I'm sorry. As well as the many horror movies he's done, because producer, 129 movies.
Okay.
One of them is Jim and the Holograms.
Okay.
All the Purge movies. Creep, that movie wasn't very good.
Okay. Well,
Any of the Paranormal Activities, those were god-awful.
then I stand
I had to
corrected.
force myself to sit through that
Then
shit.
I'll say that Jason Blum is a fucking asshole and he has a horrible choice of movies.
I'm just saying. Paranormal Activity, The Purge, that first one was good.
All right.
But you know what I mean? Like, most of these we haven't even seen or even give a shit about.
Right.
So to say that he's amazing,
Okay, then I misspoke then. There's a lot of his stuff that I haven't seen yet.
Still going.
I know you're still going at that point.
Upcoming 57.
Good for him.
Fuck is busy.
Yes, he is.
Maybe that's what it is. He just pumps out shit because he's too busy to actually see if it's shit or not.
All right, fair enough.
But I mean, it works. I mean, the reason why he can have his name attached to so many things is because what you mentioned earlier. You know, he cranks out a movie that cost him $6 million and makes 5 or 50 off of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you make 10 times what you actually spent.
Right, exactly. So, well, let's move on then over to. I can't wait for this series. It's gonna be on Amazon. It's coming out. Good Omens. This is an insane casting choice already because you already had Michael Sheen and David Tennant playing the main characters. You have backed up by Frances McDormand, John Hamm, Nick Offerman, Michael McKean, and they decided to keep on adding more people to it. Added into all of that, you now have Benedict Cumberbatch is joining to voice the role of Satan in the upcoming series Good Omens. So with all of this together, have you ever read the Neil Gaiman comics behind it? Do you know anything about this beforehand? Okay. Then I will let you go in blind on that because I have high hopes for this. Now, with that being said, with this number of great cast on there, what are your hopes on that? Do you think that even having a fantastic cast could possibly break a bad script? Or do you think this is going to hopefully just have so much star power that it becomes kind of good?
I hope that there's good writing, and that's what attracted the good cast.
Well, I mean, it's Neil Gaiman. He's excellent, and a lot of the stuff that I have seen that he has read, that he's written, or has had something part to do with a live action adaptation.
The last time Michael Sheen and Neil Gaiman worked together that I could think of, I enjoyed it.
Okay, which one was that?
Doctor Who.
Right, he did have an episode. It was the
He wrote
silver
2
one.
episodes.
It was the Oh, why am I drawing a blank?
He did A Nightmare in Silver.
That's what I was thinking of.
But he also did The Doctor's Wife.
Actually,
Where the TARDIS becomes a person.
sentient human.
And when the TARDIS is abandoned and Uncle, the living planet, takes over the TARDIS, that's Michael Sheen.
Is it? Okay. It's still one of my favorite episodes.
It's a good episode.
It's a fantastic episode. I remember we were in Vegas and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. We're like, oh, this is on. Well, shit, we might as well stay up and watch it.
Like we were going to go outside and risk being caught up in a fucking riot.
Yeah, kidding.
Plus, everyone was tired or
A lot of people were tired.
exhausted from all the drinking and cocaine.
Yeah. But anyways,
Vegas.
moving on. A classic. I guess you can call it classic because it was from the '90s on Nickelodeon. Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Still a classic.
Series is actually getting a mini-series revival. This is going to be coming out on. Why did I not?
Yet I still have to wait for them to bring back whatever version of Legends of the Hidden Temple. Maybe they were talking about doing a movie of that.
They are moving forward. Yeah, they are moving forward on that. I thought I saw the trailer for it, but I didn't see the actual movie came out for that.
Is it?
Oh, apparently it's out on Hulu. I guess we'll have to give that a watch.
Huh.
But yes, Are You Afraid of the Dark is getting a mini-series revival over on Nickelodeon. It's going to be an all-new cast and move forward with a story based on the group of friends known as the Midnight Society. How they basically, like they were back in the original series, they're all around a campfire, they're talking about ghost stories, and then they expand upon that. So be curious to see where this all goes. It kind of seems just more of nostalgia bait at this point, because kids grew up in the 90s. By 2019, they're grown up, they probably have families, have their kids, and they'll have the nostalgia pull of like, kids, I used to watch this when I was your age, and let's go watch that and get that going for it. I mean, I'll still give it a shot. I enjoy it, so we'll see what happens with that. Next up, Gremlins is back. That's random because we haven't had enough of nostalgia coming through. So this is actually going to be an animated series coming out sometime in 2019. It's currently in the development stage, and when it finally comes out, it'll be available on Warner Media's upcoming streaming service, because everyone has their own streaming service coming out at this point. So this will be exclusive onto there. Do we really need more?
Yeah, and they're making one for Critters too.
Okay, yeah, if they're making one for Critters, then I guess they can do whatever with, Gremlins. I don't know. I just look at this and I'm thinking nostalgic cash grab. Make it animated because you don't want to deal with the live action and have the puppets and have to deal with all that. But that was kind of its charm, though.
You know what? If they do it in 80s animation style, like the real Ghostbusters.
Oh, that really bad, cheesy animation style?
I'd be so in.
Yeah, I'd kind of enjoy that. But if they try to turn around like, this is a CG series and whatnot, we try to make it dark and gritty. No, I don't think I want that. So, besides, I guess some fans never want to get enough of Gizmo.
True.
And last up, before we get to our cool thing of the episode, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It was brought back to NBC after being canceled by Fox last year. And it was officially announced just a couple days ago that it has been officially renewed for a 7th season over on NBC. Was it yesterday? 27th? What's today?
Yeah, this is 27th.
We're recording on the 28th. So, yes, yesterday. Anyways,
whatever, by the time you see this, it'll be a few days ago.
Yes. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is finally getting on season. If you have never seen this series, highly, highly recommend going to doing so. I've put it off for so long because of these two kept on talking about it over and over again.
It's a good show.
And I binged it. I loved every second of it. I can't wait for more. So, yeah. We have, was it? Did it say it was 13 or 22 episodes for this?
Well, this newest season was only 13.
Only 13 because it was just like a half season for that point. Looks like it is a.
I think they're just doing another 13, aren't they?
Is of course I'm reading all this. Last episode. Yeah, it looks like they're working on another.
22.
Yeah.
I'm excited for 13. Obviously, I think everyone did a great job doing 22, but it's tough. A lot of episodes. No, I guess just 13.
Yeah, looks like they're just going to do 13. That's still fine. It's more Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah. I'm perfectly fine with that. Okay. That's enough of all the quick hits. We did want to talk about one cool thing, and that's actually a Stranger Things themed, officially themed, Dungeons and Dragons starter set. A lot of people were talking about this for a while. There was joke about this being a Kickstarter, but this is an actual thing. You can actually buy this.
Comes with 2 Demigorgons.
So I love the fact that it goes into the classic, like, 1960s, 1970s Dungeons and Dragons art style
Mm-hmm.
for everything includes the classic logo, but it keeps the 80s Stranger Things stuff in there, like the Demogorgon that's on the front there. With that, that's what.
No, like it has two little Demogorgon figurines.
Oh, the little figurines.
Yeah,
yes.
one's painted, one's not.
Yeah. So looks like this will be included or a variant of the starter sets you can buy of regular Dungeons and Dragons, similar to probably I'm guessing the 4th or most likely the 5th edition. This will also include a manual, an adventure for the Dungeon Master's eyes only. Basically, here is a pre-made story. We want you to go and follow this to have the full experience that we want you to have. You also have a handful of pre-made character sheets, which is quite nice because that saves you a boatload of time getting this off the ground, and a set of polyhedral dice to actually be able to roll for initiative. All the content
Remember
itself
the characters that are made in the character sheets is the kids.
Yes. Well, the story that this
Yeah.
this game come from is straight from like the first few episodes of
The first
Stranger
episode,
Things?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean like the character sheets. It's not. It's like it's straight up. Was it Dustin the dwarf and Will the Wise?
Ooh, excuse me. So I look forward to it. It is available for pre-order right now. It's gonna be shipping May 1st. Coinciding with that, Stranger Things season 3 comes out July 4th. It looks cool. Looks fun. You just recently acquired a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons old school manuals.
Recently, but yeah,
It was semi-recently.
from the 70s, yeah.
Yes. Would you? Are you interested in all actually going through that and trying to do a Dungeons and Dragons like a short game? Okay.
Part of me is tempted just to buy this, just since it already has one pre-made.
That's true, and it's a story that pretty much everyone who's going to be sitting down and trying to play it would actually already know it. So you use that as a basis to move forward.
Yeah, like it already has the character sheets that you could use. So I mean, there's little bits, so you don't have to go incredibly overboard trying to do all the extra nitty-gritty stuff that would come with it.
Right. Okay. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. We went through a whole bunch, had a bunch of different reviews. There's a bunch of nostalgia stuff coming out again for a bunch of revivals and remakes and God knows what. Of course, we have our obligatory Disney in there, so we'll have to see what happens with that.
They're everywhere. That's not fair.
Seriously. And do yourself a favor. Go online. Like, I read the IO9 articles about the upcoming Star Wars land. That just looks so cool.
We'll get into that next time.
Yeah. I mean, we got plenty of time to talk about before it comes out. It comes out and it opens in June here, which means we're not going to be able to get into that park until 2027, given how, fanatical some of the fans are. We'll see what happens with all that. Anything else we need to talk about, or?
No.
I think that's it. All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us for Geeks and Drinks. I'm Jason.
Jordan.
Cheers, Internet.